Welcome all. The session will start shortly. Hello, Kiran sir. Hello, Kiran sir. Am I audible?
Hi, Raga sir.
Hello. Hello, Dipti.
Hi.
Hello, Kiran sir.
Hi, Kiran sir. Are you there?
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Uh, Hello all. The session is going to start soon. Thank you for your patience.
Uh, am I audible perfectly?
Yeah, you're audible, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, sir. Shall I start?
Okay, we can start.
Okay. So, hello everyone. I am Dipti from the team of GISA Council. I welcome you all to the webinar of Compliance to Data Protection Officer Roadmap conducted by GISA Council. It is not-for-profit organization committed to empowering individuals and organizations through specialized training and globally recognized certifications. Our mission is to strengthen the cybersecurity and IT governance ecosystem by building skilled professionals through programs such as PCI-DSS, ISA, CISA, CSIM, C-Risk Prep Trainings, ISO 27001, CISSP prep training, SOC 2 Type 2 auditing program, and many more. Our director, Dr. Hiral Patel, has over 17 years of global experience in IT and cybersecurity as a consultant and lead auditor. She is passionate about mentoring and guiding professionals in building successful careers in information systems, audit, risk, and cybersecurity. In just more than 3 years since our establishment, GISA Council has proudly trained over 5,000 professionals across 70 plus countries, including participants from 170 plus global enterprises with more than 30 Fortune 500 companies among them. It's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Kiran Sawant, with over 10 years of experience in cybersecurity, information security, IT governance, and compliance. He is a seasoned professional with expertise in security audits, risk assessment, and regulatory compliance. He is an approved lead auditor for ISO 27001, 27701, 42001, and 9001, and has helped numerous organizations strengthen their security and compliance frameworks. Welcoming Mr. Kiran Sawant as he shares his valuable insights with us today. Best wishes to all the participants. Thank you, sir. Over to you. Thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Please note that before ending this session, like before 10 to 15 minutes, we will be sharing a Google form to claim your 1 hour CP. So please fill up that form to have your 1 hour CP certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipti, for the introduction. Okay. May I know how many participants are there from last previous session? Okay, no worries. Okay, today we will start the session. I will share my screen. Please visible to all.
Not yet.
Okay. So today we will start the session regarding the compliance to data protection officer. We are going to conduct all the scenarios where which are the roles
Your voice is
and
breaking, Kiran.
responsibilities associated with the data
Kiran,
protection
your
officer.
voice is breaking a
What
lot.
are the key criteria
Kiran,
they need to tackle in day-to-day life? Mostly like how the GDPR, DPDPA, ISO 27701 compliances required them to go to the tackling these systems. Now we will start our session with directly with a go of what are the data protection officers. Okay, is it audible now?
Kiran, your voice is breaking a lot. Meanwhile, You are on mute, Kiran.
Kiran sir is rejoining. Please wait. He is rejoining. Kiran sir has rejoined.
Yeah.
Thanks for your patience. Thank you.
Am I audible? Please confirm once. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Okay. So sorry to everyone for the disturbance. Okay. Now we will start. What is the main DPO roles and responsibilities? We will cover the first. Okay. What are the main function of DPO? DPO is the most probably regulatory license. DPO act as a primary contact between data protection board and supervisory authority. This is the main roles and responsibility lies with the data protection officer. Again, data protection officer is an independent advisor. Independent advisor means regarding the data fiduciary as a data controller, it will inform to their stakeholder, their management, their employees, what are the rules and regulation applicable to them, what are the key functionalities where they need to work on. This is the main criteria of data protection officer. Data protection is completely responsible for the grievance redressal, like DPDPA specific, whether it is a GDPR or DPDPA. It is a mandate that data protection should be data protection officer should assign in the organization to tackle with personal identifiable information. This is the main key responsibilities or roles the data protection officer is having to comply with regulatory authorities, become as an independent advisor to advise the organization to tackle with all the regulatory requirements and everything, and the support as a grievance to them. Now, what is the main DPO's day-to-day work sites? Work site means what are the working structure they need to comply with. Like DPO need to be complete with the risk management, like data protection impact assessment. They need to comply with the data. They need to come in with the data protection impact assessment as per GDPR Article 35. And along with that, they need to comply with the different data fiduciary given checklist and assessment to comply the regulatory or law standard. Along with that, ISO 27701, they need to comply with ISO 277. It is though not mandatory to data protection officer to comply with ISO 27770 requirement, but ISO 27701, this standard, which is stand for Privacy Information Management System, which is nothing but the alliance between DPIA and the GDPR, DPDPA laws and GDPR laws. Now, record keeping, like whatever the activities are working in the organization, their data should be protected. This is again ROPAC accuracy should be maintained by the DPDPA officer. This is an overview of data protection officer roles and responsibilities. I hope these things are clear to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now we are going with the implementation in a one go. How to implement DPDPA, GDPR, ISO 27701, which is a nothing but it looks like implementing different standard. But as a data protection officer, your responsibility, first prior responsibility is to comply with DPDPA, GDPR or other applicable framework which stand for the data protection. So in one liner, data protection officer's responsibility is to protect PII data, personal identified data should be protected. That is the main responsibility of data protection officer. Okay, now first thing, before going to or implementing a data protection control or understanding the what is the roles and responsibility, what are they need to tackle, main thing is that as a data protection officer should understand the legal requirement. Legal requirement means what? As a GDPR says that General Data Protection Regulation, which is a nothing but European Union laws applicable to different countries of European Union. They said that all the personal identifiable data of European countries should be protected by the organization irrespective of their geographical location. That means as a data protection officer, you should have a knowledge of GDPR. Like there are many companies who operated in India or any other countries, but they support to the different organizations of European Union and they carry their personal data. So that is the reason that GDPR is applicable to them. And it is a by law applicable to them. It is not their voluntary choice. If they possesses a personal identifiable data from European Union, they need to be have a comply with GDPR law. It is nothing but GDPR law. Now, what are the different processes or whatever the different things in the GDPR is having? Principles of processing. How the data subject or the person whose data is there, how that data should be processed, lawful basis, like there are different terminologies, consent, contractual, vital requirement, all these legal requirements, on which basis the data is processed. All these things need to be understand. Rights of data subject, as an individual person, what are their rights? Consent, cross-border transfer, data protection impact and analysis, ROPA, data breach notification, vendor management, third-party risk management. All these things are the mandatory in a GDPR. There are different 99 different articles and 11 different chapters in GDPR which need to be required to comply by the organization to fulfill all the requirements of GDPR. Now, similarly, as GDPR is a European Union law, on the same basis, DPDPA is nothing but Indian law, which is stated in 2023 and applicable from 2025. The same thing, GDPR says in the same or other way, DPDPA also says that. In DPDPA, data protection officer should have a knowledge of data fiduciary, data processor, consent manager, which are the significant data fiduciary, notice requirement, consent management, data principal right, data retention, grievance redressal. All these things should be understood by the data protection officer. Before assigning any task or doing any task, data protection officer should have a complete understanding of the legal and regulatory term. That it is not a by default applicable to all organizations. It is based on their contractual agreement or their business approach. They are voluntarily adopt the ISO 27701 standard, which is nothing but privacy information management system. PIMS is nothing but it gives the bridge to implement the DPDPA and GDPR. There are again 49 different controls in ISO 27701 standard, which are more or less nothing but are addressing to the GDPR and DPDPA requirement. I hope basic thing clear to everyone.
Yes, Kiran.
Okay, perfect. Now, again, there are the few mapping structure like ISO 27701 and GDPR mapping. That means GDPR obligations and there are control areas like lawful basis and consent requirement. Again, clause number 7.2 and 7.3 of PIMS, which is ISO 27701, which address these two requirements. Like again, data subject right, which is nothing but Article 15 to Article 2022. These are the data subject right. Again, clause number 7.3 says that of ISO 27701, obligation to PII principle. PII means what? Personal identifiable information principle. Like these are the different principle like access, correction, deletion, and complaint handling. These are again nothing but the bridge between the ISO 27701 and GDPR. Similar way, privacy by design and DPI. Again, Article 25 and 35. Again, it is related to the ISO 27701 at 7.2.5 and 7.4.2. This is just I want to give you an overview of the what are the common functionalities between GDPR mapping and ISO 27701. Similarly, in a DPDPA as well, these are the common map. Like there are different 44 different section in DPDPA. Again, notice and consent, section 5 to 7. Like these are again tackled by the clause number 7.2 and 7.3 by the 27701. This is the common functionality between GDPR, DPDPA and ISO 27770. As a data protection officer, your responsibility is what? You are implementing a data protection. Your main goal is to protect your organization personal data or your client's personal data, or in a simple terminology we can say that in interested parties PII data, personal identifiable data. So you don't require to implement DPDPA in other terminology, GDPR in other terminology, ISO 27701 in other terminology, or in different sector. There are different requirements. Like there are those company who are doing the working in a payment card industry. They need to comply with NPCI or PCI DSS. There are few organizations who works in a healthcare. They need to comply with HIPAA. But again, HIPAA is also nothing but the what? Health related personal data for the US or American citizens data should be protected in a such a way that. So as a data protection officer, you don't need to implement all these laws or applicable framework or the standard in a different terminology. You can map them in a standardized format so that you will get the clear idea how this framework can be implemented in a one go so that they can address the multiple requirements. Maybe there might be a possibility that there are different terminologies over there, but their interpretation in a same way. Like in a DPDPA, they must say as a different data fiduciary. Similarly, in GDPR, they say as a data processor. This is the way, but data fiduciary and data fiduciary and data processor or data controller, this is nothing but the terminology difference between them. It is a what wording difference, but as their concept or understanding of this concept, they can map in a similar way or in a one go. No need to map in a different perspective. Again, I am giving a common control framework of sample mapping, GDPR. I'll explain one framework like data inventory and ROPA. Like GDPR Article 30 says that record should be maintained. DPDPA Section 8 mention that accountability basis, and ISO 2770 clause number 7.2.8 and Annexure A 7.2.8 control says that. Consent notice. Again, these are the common practicality. Based on that, again, when we are going to implement data protection or applicable legal and regulatory requirements, we can again map with the different regulations like PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, HIPAA. Also, we can map them with the HIPAA standard. So, as a data protection officer, you can prepare one common documentation and go with the same things for the different regulation. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, Kiran.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Is there any questions from participants? I'll explain. If there are any questions from your end. Okay. So, till point, everything is understood by everyone. May I know how many participants are from previous webinar here?
Me.
Okay. I think there are very okay. There are very few participants from previous webinar. I need to explain few terminologies of the GDPR and DPDPA so that they will get the brief idea. So bear with me.
Kiran, you're on mute.
No, am I audible perfectly? Am I audible to all?
Yes,
Yes.
you are audible.
Now.
Yeah. I'm just sharing the previous slide so that the participant who are joined new, they will get just the overview of GDPR, DPDPA in a quick way, and we will move with our further session. Just a minute. I'm sharing the one slide with you all. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, yeah.
No. Sir.
Okay. Just allow.
Visible, sir. Visible, sir.
Perfect. Okay. I will just explain these 3 slides to all, and we will again come back to our today's webinar session. Like, so that everyone get the terminology understanding. Okay, GDPR. GDPR is nothing but European Union law for the. It is mainly designed in a such a way that so that European Union's personal identified data or data subject data should be protected. It is GDPR is adopted in 2016 and enforced in 25th May 2018. What it is applicable to the extraterritorial applies to any entity targeting or monitoring EU, that is European Union residents data. Core actors is what? Data subject. Data subject means what? The person whose data is there, that can be addressed as a data subject. The organization who is controlling that data, that is known as a data controller. And those organizations who are processing that data, that is known as a data processor. Supervisory authority is nothing but European Union board members or European Union board authority. It is a core factors of GDPR. Basis what? Why GDPR is designed? GDPR is designed because right of basis is what? To protect the person data of European Union resident. There are 6 different lawful bases like consent, contract, legitimate interest, vital interest. All these are different basis of this GDPR. And regulator model, independent supervisory authority per member state or European Data Protection Board. This is an overview of GDPR. And similarly, for India, DPDPA is designed. DPDPA is designed in May 2023, and it is a mandate by from the 2025. It is what? It is applicable to the all the organization who possesses the personal identified data of Indian residents for their goods and services. There are different factors. Please, can you please mute the mic? I'm unable. Hello.
Nidhi, could you please mute yourself? Yeah, Kiran. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, basis of the DPDPA is what? Again, consent plus defined and legitimate. Legitimate means what? Legal, applicable legal use. There are few controls defined or few section define that. Legal use means what? There are different sectors having different their own legal and regulatory requirement. They comply with their legal requirement that will be allowable in DPDPA. This is the overview of DPDPA. Again, ISO 27701, it is a standard. It is not a mandatory by the any of the geographical locations or for the organization. ISO 27701 is voluntary adopted by the organization, or it is based on their contractual requirement or service level agreement. They need to comply with ISO 27701 standard. First edition published in 2019, and it is aligned with ISO 27701, which is released in 2013 standard. But again, ISO 27701 is changed in 2022. Based on that, maybe might be possible PIMS requirement or few controls change in a further or upcoming years. Okay. Nature, certification management or a system standard. Core actor, again same core actor, but the terminology is different. PII controller, PII processor. PII means personal identifiable information controller. PII processor, PIMS owner, certification body. Basis is what? Risk-based control organization as an extension to the Annexure A and Annexure B control. Annexure A, Annexure B is nothing but what? PII controller and PII processor, there are different control. Again, there is a no regulatory body for the ISO 2770. It is given by the accredited certification bodies. This is an overview of DPDPA, GDPR, and ISO 27701. I hope this thing clear to everyone.
Yes, Kiran.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
clear, sir.
Okay.
Perfect, sir.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now we are coming with again our implementation part. This is the most important. For implementing, is my screen visible?
Visible, sir.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for the confirmation. Now, first thing is what? Understanding the legal and regulatory requirement. This is the first thing when you are implementing DPDPA, GDPR, or ISO 27701 or HIPAA, PCI DSS, which is nothing but these standards are interlinked with the data protection or the having a protection of that data. These are the terminologies as a data protection officer you need to understand first. Now, secondly, how we are moving ahead. First thing we need to do is what? Data discovery, mapping, and PII inventory. Personal identifier inventory. Means what? First thing, as a data protection officer, we need to identify the personal data. Which are the personal data organization possesses, whether it is internal, external, or it is in a normal format. That data should be identified by the data protection officer. If we take an example of HR, what are the different data HR possesses? Employee records, salary, Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport, medical history. That data should be identified by the data protection officer. This is their first and foremost criteria. What are the data they possess? They should have clear understanding which data they are having. On that basis, they once they identify their data, they can classify their data in a second stage. Classify means what? There are different types of data, like public data, internal data, confidential data, restricted data, personal data, sensitive personal data, specific category data, or highly confidential. Based on organizational requirement, that data should be classified. Again, based on the classification, the third part is what? Data prioritization. Prioritization means what? Again, on the basis of data protection impact assessment, we need to prioritize which are highly sensitive data. Highly sensitive data, which are moderate or which can be accessible on the DPI based on organization risk methodology or data protection impact assessment or risk assessment methodology. Organization can define on which basis they are prioritizing their data. But for data classification, again, organization will decide which data is public, which data internal, which data is confidential. Now, I'll give you one example. Can anyone answer? Okay, there is one organization. They are having their website, and on their website there are their services is defined. There are few policies they define, and they are putting their geographical location. Whether that data is public data or that can be internal data.
It's a public.
Right, public data. Right. Again, secondly, now there are few internal policies. Few internal policies means what? The HR policies, leave policies, their mediclaims, their other bonuses or related to salary. Are these data internal data or confidential data?
Some of the
Confidential.
confidential and some of the internal.
Correct. Some of them are confidential and some of them are internal. Like the group mediclaim data is again a confidential data, which is considered as a high priority data or high risk data. But leave policies and other are what? Internal data. that need to be a classification criteria should be done by the data protection officer. This is the responsibility of data protection officer to first identify data, second classify that data, third prioritize that data, and based on this data protection impact assessment, what impact should be organization can face if that data is available to the global market or publicly available. Based on that, they should address this. What are the risk possesses, what are the impact of this data, and based on that then they categorize their data, which data should be protected first, and then they will also create the what business continuity plan or data backup plan. All these are internal terminologies. Clear? This is the first step. The second step, first understanding the legal regulatory requirement is the first step as a data protection officer, and second step is what? Understanding the identifying the data, classifying data, prioritizing the data, do the DPIA, data protection impact assessment, risk assessment. On the basis of risk assessment, what are the risk possesses to that data that they should be identified as a data protection officer. Is my point clear to you?
Yes,
confirm
Kiran.
me once.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, implementation roadmap. Implementation roadmap means what? First, foundation. Any organization who is going to comply with GDPR, DPDPA, ISO 27701, HIPAA standard, PCI DSS standard, their working structure may be different, but it should be always considered as a 4 peer reviews. Like what? First, foundation from 1 week to 6 weeks. This is the estimated phase based on organization requirement, based on organization sensitive data. That period can be changed. Like for foundation, they will go with data inventory, ROPA structure, gap analysis against all the framework, executive sponsorship, scope of PIMS. That should be first identified in a first 1 week to 6 weeks. Again, this is not a standard format. This is a just estimated deadline. Few organizations who are having 20 employees working in their organization, and they are supporting very small firm in a European Union, and they are possessing only 1,000 persons data of European Union residents. That organization may require very few time, but there are few organizations like Wipros, TCS, Infosys. There are multi MNCs company. They required a different time zone based on their requirement, based on their business processes. Second, build. In the build phase, draft a common control set, write policies, notice. In terms of the policies, what are the, as per your knowledge or based on your experience, what are the different policies that are applicable to these frameworks or the laws? Will you please suggest me a few?
There are multiple policies are applicable, like privacy policy. Then we have to implement the how we can conduct the DPIA and ROPA, the
Correct.
PIMS
Any
manual,
other policies anyone can support me?
consent management. How we are going to taking a consent management and the
Yes, correct.
withdrawal of the
But most required policy is what regarding the data handling and data protection policy, email policy, data backup policy, storage policy, endpoint devices. All these are the main policies which are linked with the GDPDPA, GDPR, and the ISO 27770 on top of the policies which are mentioned by you earlier. But most probable, data protection, data handling, data sensitivity, classification of data, risk methodology. These are the main policies. to implement while we are implementing the data. There are few policies like authentication matrix, change management, sensitive data classification policy. All these are the different policies in a later part. This is a build. We need to prepare policies and notices for to comply with these operationalize, like we put into, like train the staff aware, make the people aware in the organization why this data is confidential to you. Maybe you as a data protection officer, you are very much aware about the things. Yeah, I have a confidential data, I need to comply with different regulation, but there are different peoples in the organization who are from development side, testing side. This person may not be completely aware about these regulation, but all the employees should have a basic awareness about this law so that our organization data is protected in a proper way.
So,
Run
Kiran,
yeah.
Kiran, I have one question. Is there any specific thing that we have to, as a DPO officer, okay,
Hmm.
we have to implement in our organization on recurring basis to spread the awareness within the
Yes.
team?
Yes, based on this, what again, this is as a data protection officer, your main criteria is what you are supporting with the different teams like information security team, DFIR team, SOC team, phishing team. What you need to check whether the by basis on the phishing report, basis on the SOC monitoring log, you will get the overview of idea that which employee should attempted the phishing attempt, which employee has a log monitoring of unauthorized domain access, which employee should access unauthorized sites in the domain. Until and unless you are working with different department, you or as a single-handedly you won't get the clear picture of whom to train, how to train, and where are the lacunas in the organization they need to improve. It is a
Uh,
completely recurring activity.
Yeah, yeah. So now my question is that if the organization is more than 250 people, okay,
Okay.
for
Okay.
example, okay,
Hmm.
so how we identify on from which device or from which user the incident is happening
Okay.
through the EDR,
Based on
right? Hmm.
okay, based on as you mentioned DPI, maybe might be possibility 250 people's organization may doesn't have a complete SOC operations over there, but they are having few VPNs installed at their laptops. There are few agents or SOC monitoring devices they deployed at their end. On the basis of their report, you will get the data from which employee this is happening. Again, it doesn't mean you should need to employ all the employees on all the GDPR regulation and DPDPA regulation. There are the few peoples from the software development side. They are accessing very few limited data of client side, which is again a personal identifier data. You can organize them based on department like HR. HR possesses different data of internal employees or vendor data. So you need to aware HR people on the requirement of GDPR, like data should be kept privately. These are the confidential data. What are the consequences if we lose that data? HR should be aware on this point. Software development should aware about the what sections. What vendor data is from European Union. As per GDPR, it says that if the data is lost, we need to penalize on this point of time. This law is applicable to them. So based on this, based on the business processes, based on departmental operation, you can guide them. You don't require to guide each and every employee in the organization for thorough standard. Based on the scope and based on the operational requirement, you will guide them. Like if I give you one example, it is the best way what you add these few terminologies in induction plan. Secondly, you can have a awareness session in the team on the basis of quarterly basis or half yearly basis. Third, create a champions like data protection champions, privacy champions by the each department. You can pick any one person from the HR who is responsible for personal identifiable data. You can pick any one employee from the finance. You can pick any one employee from the procurement. You can pick any one employee from the software development, one from the testing department, and you can prepare a one privacy champion team or data protection team so that it will be easy, and authorize them with such a practices that they can have a control over their data. I hope
Yeah, got it. Clear. And thank you so much for such a wonderful example, and which is
yeah,
we are facing nowadays in corporate. It's
yeah,
a really good
yeah,
example, and I will definitely try to implement it in
yeah.
my organization. Thank you so much, Kiran.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay, now this is the third phase. Now coming to the fourth phase, sustain and certify. DPA GDPR is not a one-time activity. It is a completely continuous monitoring, continuous improvement. It is an interlink activity. So organization and as a data protection officer, you should be in a prepare in a such a way that you should have a complete understanding and 24/7 vigilance and continuous process improvement. Or in terms of that, I think uh, time will not permit us to complete the, but I'll try to be complete more most of the topics from the session. Now, governance and Reiki. Reiki means who is responsible for which criteria. Like in DPDPA, GDPR, executive sponsor or a board is accountable. Accountable means what? Their responsibility, all the things happening in the organization, they should accountable for each and everything. But in any organization, if top management or leadership commitment is not there, they should also have accountability regarding this standard. They should be aware about this. Top management or stakeholder team should aware, if we don't comply with these regulations, what are the business consequences we are having, what are the reputational damages we are having, and what are the penalties we should gain. Like if you are explaining in these terminologies to the executive board or sponsor board, they will get a clear idea. And again, executive board is responsible for approved policy, own restitution, sign up certification investment. Data protection officer or privacy lead. Data protection officer is responsible to run the PIMS, run the GDPR policies, framework, implement GDPR, DPDPA, all these things, HIPAA, PCI DSS is the responsibility of data protection officer and privacy lead. Again, legal and compliance, IT security. So we will definitely go and tackle this thing in a training session which are conducting in an upcoming weekends. We will definitely tackle not just this thing we are going to tackle, but we are going to check how the DPI will conduct, how the accountability, we will ask whether how the data protection policies are in place or not, whether the 3-to-1 structure available with them or not, whatever. All these things we are going to check in the training when we are in our upcoming training, which is nothing but starting from the 2nd of August. Now, again, discover, classify, document, maintain. These are the main data inventory and record of processing things which we are having. I think time will not permit. I need to explain one case study to you in 5 minutes. Consent management request. Consent management is what? Those persons' data we are possessing, we should have a consent of that data. Consent is what? There are different types of consent we are having. Like suppose if we are working in any organization and that organization is possessing our data, that consent is nothing but based on the contractual requirement. If we are admitted to any hospital or based on the requirement, there are insurance company need to access our lab report. Again, based on vital requirement or reason of that requirement is what we are giving consent. Until and unless we are having giving consent to them, they won't have a justifiable answer or justifiable report to send to us. So these are the different kinds of 6 different kinds of consent there are mentioned in GDPR. There are different 6 to 7 types of different lawful basis mentioned in DPDPA, and there are few terminologies or control in ISO 27701 which we will explain in a time of training. Right, fulfill on data subject and access request. Who are intake data, verify, fulfill, escalate. These are the data. Incident and breach response playbook. Again, this is the main thing as a data protection officer should implement in their organization. As a DPIA, or the first thing, identifying personal data and DPIA risk identify, that will give you a complete framework that what are the risk possesses, what are the different impact if we are losing the data. Based on that data, we need to create a one data incident response plan, which is nothing but in case if the data is lost, what first thing we need to do, what is our precautionary measures we should have taken, what should be like in GDPR there is a 72 hours rule that everything, if there is an incident happen, it should be within a 72 hours reported to the consent regulatory body as well as the person's data, those who are losing the data. What type of data they are losing? Again, there is a 2 criteria based on risk methodology or risk categorization, risk threshold they are possessing. That we will discuss in times of the training session. Again, in India, there are what if there is any incident happen, as per certain guideline, it should be reported within a 6 hours of a time, or within as soon as possible. We need to comply. We report to the DPDPA when they are getting the notification, or they will know the breach data notification. So this is again incident and breach response playbook. If there is an incident happen or a breach happen, we should go for the forensic audit. What are the impact in the organization? Who take that data? What are the RCA root cause analysis of this data? What are the corrections we have taken? What are the corrective actions plan we have taken for a longer duration? Correction is for to mitigate that incident. Corrective actions, so that there is a 2 different terminology. Correction is for the mitigate that incident, or correction is only for that incident. But corrective actions is nothing but what? These incidents won't happen again. Based on that, we will change our policy, we will change our SOPs. That is known as the corrective action. Again, vendor and third party risk assessment, how it is mandatory in GDPR article 28, DPDPA section 8.2, ISO 277 annexure B expectations. These are the different terminologies we are having. I'll explain the one common pitfall and lessons learned. I would just want to explain one recent incident which has happened in India in July, in this month as well, before 3 to 4 days back. How many of you are aware of this incident, Bank of Baroda incident?
Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah,
Okay.
to this week it
TB
happened,
data.
and also I posted it on my LinkedIn profile.
Correct. This is the incident happened in recently in July 2026. That means as a data protection officer, every organization have what need to assign a data protection officer, and in upcoming market there is a very important or stakeholder role should be played by the data protection officer. Guarantee. I'll explain this case study within a 2 to 3 minutes, and we will go for the Q&A, those who are having questions regarding the data protections. Okay, Bank of Baroda lost their data of near about 1 TB data leak is happened. and it is happened in July 2026. In this month only, in the last week, this thing happened. What happened exactly? A threat actor claimed to have access roughly 1 TB Bank of Baroda data and publish it for a free on a dark web. It is completely available on a dark web. It is completely floated in a dark web. Samples were verified as authenticate looking by the incident researcher. This data re-verify again, and this incident like 1 TB data. What different types of data is export? Data like Aadhaar card, account holder name, loan appraisal file, KYC document, net banking record, internal corporate, their loan file, appraisal records, their internal factors. All these things happen by data exposing. How it reportedly start? The bank is already initiated the forensic audit and reported to the different regulatory like certain NCAA, IPC and DPDPA authorities in India. Regulatory Reserve Bank of India and Ministry of India were notified, and incident is under investigation completely. What is the main loss of Bank of Baroda in this thing? Can anyone explain?
Customer loss, trust loss.
Yes. The most loss, brand image, reputations is the most thing. Like, you know that in Ola, few years back, there is a loss of data in a different cities, and they can easily accessible by the different people. Ola lost their reputations at that time completely. That most of the user preferred to be go to the Uber or different carpool app instead of Ola. Now, in the same thing, Bank of Baroda loses their reputation in a market. For any organization, financial reputation can be manageable by the organization, but brand image and reputation, once trust lose, that cannot be accessed or corrected in any situation. So as a data protection officer, as a data protection guy, we should always focus on the brand image, reputation, data protection, each and every legal and regulatory requirement. May I know, does anyone know why this incident happened? Or how this incident happened? Okay, I'll explain. This incident, am I audible to all? Just confirm at least that.
Yes, you are.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. This breach, data breach is happen just because one person's or one employee's systems is compromised. Their password is breached. Based on this, that thing happened for the Bank of Baroda by just one employee. So if anyone says that data protection, we can implement policies, we can generate SOPs, we will have a certification of bodies come out to our place and just certify that we are GDPR compliant, DPDPA compliant, it won't be feasible for the organization. Our data protection and the employee should always be in a vigilance mode, always be in a awareness situation, so that they can do not face such a kind of situation. Just because of one employee, this incident happened. Similarly, if one person's, I'll give you another example. If in any organization, one person's mail is compromised, that mail can generate a one malicious activity and send to all the employees. So in that situation, see if that phishing is successfully accomplished. As an internal, we never check the file or which type of file it is there. Most of the time you heard that in Maharashtra, even in uh, assembly session, they said that do not download RTP, APT file or APK file, PDF file. They can directly access to your logs and everything. So these are the different situation as a data protection officer should aware about this thing. Okay, I hope everyone clear basic things regarding the data protection roles and responsibility. I know you will won't get complete thorough understanding how the DPI will conduct, how the policy will be generated, how the continuous monitoring will happen, how this data protection is not a one person responsibility, how we can interlink with other departments, how the other department can have a vital role in these situations. This should be we can discuss in the training part. Okay, we will go with the Q&A if anyone is having questions regarding our today's topic. Yes. Any feedback from participants or any questions from your end? You can ask. Yeah, Priyanka. Is it any question from your end?
No.
Okay. Okay. No issue. Uh, so can we wind up the sessions? Okay. There is a small announcement from my end. There is a one feedback or the CPA credit points. You will get a one certificate from GISA Council regarding attending the webinar. You can enroll for that, and you can also give your feedback to the GISA Council regarding our today's session. How many of you understand the session? Okay, perfect. Is anything, any situation you would like to discuss or anything, any supports or any clarity from my end?
Hi, Kiran. I just wanted to know, when is the new batch starting for the data privacy officer?
Data privacy officer batch is starting from the 2nd of August.
Okay, good. Yeah. And that would be like the 4-day, or how is it? How many hours it?
It is it is a completely 4-day session. 3 days we are going to check the with theoretical and practical approach, and one day they might be conducting your examination.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, but I am not sure. You will get the better clarity from GISA team.
I'm just sharing the link of the website. Please wait. Yeah. And the sessions will be on Saturday, Sunday. Only on the weekend sessions. Weekend batch will be there.
Okay, that's not very nice. Thank you.
You can just visit our website.
Yeah, hi Kiran.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I would like to know like whether the training will be covered real-time industry scenarios and practical use cases, right?
Most of the we are going to go with the practical scenarios instead of just theoretical approach, because
Yeah.
in real time practical approach is most matter instead of the what we can say theoretical. You will get the understanding by reading the book, but how to interpret that thing, how to implement that thing in an organization, that will be done through only practical approach. So my focus would be practical only.
Yeah,
But
because of
yeah, you will get the complete thorough understanding of theoretical part as well.
okay, like mainly so basically like I am very new to the data privacy and information security course. Like majorly like I need to know like for example how we need to handle the data subjects rights, how we need to maintain the ropa, and how we need to conduct an impact data privacy along with impact assessment, those kind of the things I just wanted to know in the real time approach way.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be done. If there are few questions from the participant, I just pin my LinkedIn in the chat bar. You can just connect me over there, and if there is any questions from the your end, we can address, and we can definitely see few participants or all participants for the training session. Thank you. We can wind up the session. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for the session, Kiran.
Thank you. It was nice session.
Thank you. Very nice session.
Okay.
लो ये दो क्या ले ओ भाई मला पण दे दादा एक लो ले ए
हाँ
ला पुलिस
आ रहा हूँ.
पापा को बुला दे तो तुझे घर में तो कौन रोटी भाई तो खाना खाने के वक्त दर्द आ गई है हमारा ठिकाना नहीं है
close to, sorry. Ah. Oh, if I can quickly, I'll be so happy.